Hey everybody, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as a thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Spotify or Apple, please leave a 5-star rating and review. Okay, folks, let's take a look at the price of Bitcoin right now, currently trading at just over $109,000. So the chop continues. And as we've been saying, we have to be patient here. A lot of different things are playing out. We still have some incredibly bullish milestones coming up on the horizon with the Fed ending QT, the US government reopening, so more liquidity starts coming in. You have the crypto market structure bill passing in the Senate, and of course, being signed into law by Trump. In addition to the flurry of altcoin ETFs on the SEC's desk to be approved, mainly XRP and Solana ETFs. So there's a lot of things on the horizon, but it's very much a boring chop zone, and we could see further volatility. I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin went down and touched $106,000. But nevertheless, it's all part of the process. And when you zoom out, when in doubt, zoom out, you see we're still in a bull market. We're still holding key support levels. Of course, other factors are things like Bitcoin dominance that has not broken down like we've seen in previous bull market cycles. And right now, Bitcoin dominance is actually on the rise. It's been showing some strength here. So I do believe eventually it's going to roll over. And here's a couple of analysts have shared their charts. So Rect Capital says Bitcoin dominance has monthly close below 60.20%, which technically continues to solidify this level as resistance. As a result, Bitcoin dominance remains within the 57.68% to the 60.20%, unless Bitcoin dominance is able to reclaim 60.20% as support in the short term. Additional consolidation to the downside within the range is on the cards or in the cards. So this is where, again, patience, right? The market's going to do its thing. You're going to see Bitcoin dominance rise again, and then I believe it's going to eventually roll over. And that could be the final phase where I think this bull market runs into 2026. And in fact, today I tweeted out about it where I said the following. I said, I'm not sure why many are overlooking the impact that the tariff situation has had on the crypto market timeline. Since the crash in early 2025, I've been saying that the prolonged correction after the Q4 2024 rally is going to shift things. We saw Bitcoin hitting new all-time high in August, which is unusual. And then we had another tariff surprise from Donald Trump, on October 13th, of course. That was another roadblock. And I said, I believe this bull market will continue into Q1 2026. Now, that's not my feelings or emotions, but just based on facts, right? Like I've said many times, I have skin in the game. I want to make money and I don't want to make foolish decisions here. So I'm looking at the data. Obviously, I don't have a crystal ball, but based on the data, I believe the bull market thesis has the higher probability of playing out versus a bear market thesis, right? Some other things that I want to highlight here. Crypto currently, you can check out his channel. He does some great analysis. Gave a great breakdown of Bitcoin's chart showing three possible scenarios. So he says Bitcoin is still above its 50-week moving average. Therefore, the full reset scenario remains the bull case. Could the cycle be over? Of course. But as long as we maintain the macro structure, I still stick with the trend. This is what I've been sharing, right? That the macro structure is still intact. So on his chart that he provided, he has a final push as the most possible. So that means Bitcoin rallies into the end of the year, which takes us to about 140K-ish. He has a full reset, which means additional pullback is necessary, and there's a prolonged consolidation. But that allows us to go into higher highs, so higher prices beyond 150. And the third scenario is the unlikely one, which is it's over, and we are going to start seeing a collapse into a downtrend. Now, until this macro structure breaks, we can't say that yet, right? But with the full reset scenario, that is playing out into 2026. So he says that's a likely scenario. So let's see, folks. Again, no one has a crystal ball, and we're going to look at the data and what we have here and try to navigate the market, not be emotional, right? People are getting very emotional, very depressed. People are out there saying this bull market sucks and much more. But I think people are so caught up in the 4-year cycle of, well, Bitcoin must have topped at this point because it's X amount of days and the other bull markets are X amount of days. But what we've seen, the top has progressively gone out further each cycle. So that's a fact, right? And we have to expect that things are going to be different. Just look at what happened in 2021. We had a double peak, right? You had a major top, local top in April, I believe it was, of 2021. Then later on in the year, Bitcoin rallied to new highs. So this is where things can be different, and we want to look at different data sets and different factors that have signaled the top, and we're not seeing a lot of them. Yes, there are bearish things on the charts, but we haven't seen all those respective factors. And of course, one of the things we continue to follow is global liquidity. Here, macro investor Raoul Pal gave a great update, shared multiple charts, and says, I usually like to give you a small fragment of global macro investor when I sit down to write it, as I did with this weekend. Crypto is driven by liquidity, as you know. For total 2ES to break higher, you need liquidity to make new highs. The government shutdown and the TGA, that's the Treasury General Account, delayed it. But the everything code is in the process by which the debts get monetized. And due to the extension of the debts to 5 years, the largest part of the liquidity lies ahead. The liquidity flood is building, and the government reopening will be the start of a multi-vector liquidity injection from the Treasury General Account to the PBOC balance sheet, from bank reserves to the end of QT and more. Macro is a long game. You need patience for it to play out. So I'm in full agreement with this, not because it's just Raoul saying it, but because I've done my own research here and going through all these different things and taking the time and going through it with a fine tooth comb to make sure that I fully grasp all these things and what's happening. And folks, again, I still see we are in a bull market. Yes, we are in a correction right now. Yes, it's boring. Yes, it feels depressing and all that, right? But stick to the data and let's make sure we're focused on that as our North Star, so to speak. And, look, Trump and his situation and the tariffs has thrown a curveball in this bull market to us. I think we all have to admit that, right? That was a black swan event that we saw at the beginning of this year. And we're still experiencing some of it. Like I said, October 13th with Trump and, the China announcement, and then some whale, took a massive short, some, insider trading there, I believe. And I think we're still feeling the after effects of that. So we really got to be patient here, but the macro structure is still intact. Now, folks, this episode is brought to you by Trezor, which makes beautiful hardware wallets. I'm a user of the Trezor Safe 5 and the new Trezor Safe 7. And Trezor, they've been at this since 2013. They created the hardware wallets. They created the seed phrase setup. So they have the pedigree. They started it all, folks, and they support a variety of tokens. All your major tokens, of course, Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, Solana, Cardano, much more, even new coins such as BlackRock's BUIDL and much more. And they have a great software that helps you to manage all of this in the device and in the application. So the Trezor Suite allows you to easily manage your coins, buy and sell if you want. And Trezor also has a hand-holding service where you can talk to a Trezor rep to walk you through the process of setting up. And don't worry, they don't ask for your private keys. So you always have control of your private keys. No one is going to take that from you. You just have to make sure you do the proper security protocols of protecting it, right? So Trezor offers a variety of products and services, folks. And once again, I'm a user of the Trezor Safe 5, and you can check out the new device that they have, which is quantum proof, and it's waterproof. It has a new screen. It has a new build. It's amazing. I was at the Trezor event in Prague, that many of you know, just about a couple of weeks ago, and just going through the device, it's amazing all the new features they have on this. And folks, if you use my code Thinking Crypto, all one word, Thinking Crypto, you can get 5% off. That is not available on the Trezor Save 7, as though that's something you should know about. It's available on the 5 and the other products. So just a heads up on that. So once again, great hardware wallets. I'm a user. I'm a believer in self-custody. So check them out, guys. Link will be in the description. Now, folks, we got some crazy news coming out here about Trump and CZ. We heard recently that Trump pardoned Binance founder CZ, and there's a report saying that Trump said in an interview that he knows nothing about the Binance CZ's pardon. Now, there's a bit of controversy because the clip is from 60 Minutes, and it seems to be cut off where Trump continued, maybe saying he does know about the pardon, he just doesn't know CZ personally. And one user posted a clip. I'm not going to play it because 60 Minutes keeps copywriting me. But he said Trump said he doesn't know CZ personally, but not about the pardon itself. Here's the clip. They appear to cut him off before he finished his answer. And look, this is messy, man. And this is the double-edged sword of Donald Trump, right? And look, I'm an independent, so I don't have a horse here in a race here necessarily that, okay, I'm a Republican or a Democrat. And I like to call it like it is. I'll criticize anybody who's not doing something right, and I'll praise anybody who's doing things right, right? Like, we want to be logical and reasonable, not to be cult followers here. So Trump has been a double-edged sword. I told you guys many times, I hate the Trump meme coin. Like, no president, no political official should have that. But I'm very thankful for what Trump has done for the crypto market, with regulations and getting the right people in place and getting rid of Gary Gensler. I am very happy and thankful for that. But, Trump has taken advantage a bit of this asset class. Let's be real with that meme coin, World Liberty Financial, and you're just seeing a lot of controversy now, which his political opponents are going to use against him, like people buying the World Liberty Financial Stablecoin and all kinds of stuff, right? And it's just messy. It's getting so messy now, right? We're past the kind of the honeymoon phase, and it's like, man, just pump the brakes. Let the crypto legislation get through. Do the right thing, of course, which he has been doing a lot of right things. But I don't think it's Trump per se doing these things. It's his kids. It's Eric and Don Jr. They're the ones, right? I don't think Trump is up looking at meme coins and all that stuff. It's the kids. But they're crossing a line in certain places, and you can see Donald Trump himself is like, yeah, it's just messy, man. So I hope you guys appreciate it. I'm just being candid, right? I'm being very candid here, and some people are gonna get mad at me because they love politicians. I don't worship politicians, man. Yes, we vote. Yes, we pick the candidate we feel is best, but there are people who just worship politicians, and we shouldn't be doing that. We should hold our politicians accountable. They're here. They're in office to serve us, the people, right? But man, things are getting really messy here. And, we talked earlier about the tariff situation and the impact that has had on the crypto market. So it's, again, double-edged sword here we're dealing with. And it's getting messy, man. Now, speaking of CZ, he himself has been like pumping Aster, the token that's built on the Binance Smart Chain. So here, Aster token goes flying after CZ reveals $2.5 million personal stake. And today he published that he invested, more into the Aster token. So people are kind of calling him out on it. Look, at the end of the day, man, it is what it is. I don't even know what to say anymore. This is why I'm just waiting for this market to run up. I'll take my profits, and whatever happens after that, with the bear market and so forth, then let it be. I'll just be backing up the truck, buying the dip again. When it's bloody and everybody's calling crypto a scam again, right? So I don't hold the Aster token. I don't know if any of you do, but this one's close to Binance, of course. Now, look at this. Coinbase mulls $2 billion BVNK startup acquisition and stablecoin push. Man, the acquisitions, the mergers that are happening is incredible. And of course, we've got a lot of companies looking to do IPOs. MasterCard, just this week did a massive acquisition. It's mind blowing to see these things happen, but it's signs of a bull market. It's signs of a maturing, growing asset class. And I recently interviewed, I believe it was Brandon Mulvihill, of Crossover Markets, and he said once the market structure bill is passed, the Clarity Act, you're going to see the big banks and many of the old Wall Street firms go buy up a ton of these crypto native firms, startups, and so forth, because they have the capital and they want to, take over as much of the market as possible. So how do you do that quickly? You go make some acquisitions, right? So I think we're going to see a lot of M&A, once that market structure bill passes. And this is why I believe, guys, this bull market's not over. There's just so much on the table with that market structure bill and the impact, in addition to other factors, that I don't believe this thing is top yet. Now, there will be a top, and that could lead us into a recession, with everything else that's happening. And maybe that is the catalyst for the Fed to go full on QE, where they start printing because we've seen this story before, right? If the recession gets too bad, they're going to print their way out of it. And this is why we continue to diversify into assets and why we put our money in crypto. It's the fastest horse in the race as far as assets. So let me give you the details. So Coinbase, the world's third largest crypto exchange, is continuing its stablecoin push after key legislation in the United States sparked a renewed wave of corporate interest in blockchain-based payments. Coinbase Exchange is reportedly in late-stage talks to acquire stablecoin infrastructure startup BVNK in a $2 billion deal, according to a report by Bloomberg. The $2 billion acquisition is expected to close later this year or early 2026, pending due diligence from the exchange, according to an anonymous source. The stablecoin push could bring an additional source of revenue for Coinbase, which primarily relies on cryptocurrency trading fees to generate profits. So Coinbase continues to make massive moves. And in fact, tomorrow morning, I'll be publishing my interview with one of the Coinbase reps where we talk about their Bitcoin loan product and their Samsung partnership. So stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe. And one of the things I said most recently is we heard rumors that Coinbase is planning to launch a token on Base, which is their Ethereum layer 2. And I said, I'll buy that token because all the things that are happening here, and they're going to build and push a lot of things on Base. So, that's something I'm sharing my thoughts, things that I'm thinking about and doing, and obviously not financial advice, do your own research, but I'm sharing what I'm doing. And obviously I'll let you guys know if I do take a position. All right, final news item here, and I don't want to play it because there's this video because I'm going to get copyrighted, but trust me when I tell you, the IMF today put out an explainer on tokenization. And it's just blown. Once again, I'm blown away. You got the IMF, you got these central banks, you got the Bank of International Settlements, and a lot of these global firms and associations teaching people about crypto and blockchain and tokenization. Man, we've come a far way, a really, really far way. And I think all these governments and central banks are ready to adopt blockchain. So now they're educating people about it. Man, so bullish. So, if you're bearish, I don't know what you're looking at. You got to look at the full picture here, and I'm bullish, man. I'm seeing a lot of things here that are positive. So, folks, that's the news. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button. If you appreciate this content, please subscribe to my free email newsletter. It is 100% free. Link will be in the description. I put out a write-up yesterday. Check it out. And check out my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital. And my course at mycryptocourse.com. This is a comprehensive course that teaches you everything that you need to know about crypto. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.